Hey, this is the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast, the place where you get the straightforward, no nonsense, no holds barred ideas on leadership, both personally and professionally. The Bald Truth Leadership Podcast is brought to you by the Peak Performance Group. I'm your host, Coach Rick Colster, certified executive business coach and the chief coaching officer of the Peak Performance Group, where we help people and organizations align and maximize their potential. Today, our guest is one of these amazing people. You can see on the screen how beautiful she is, but she's also got a beautiful heart and an amazing story we're going to hear today. She's one of those people you hear about, but you rarely get a chance to meet in person because they're always on the move. It's kind of like a unicorn. You hear about it, but you never get to really see it. She calls herself a luxurious nomad and travels the world 24/7, spending a month here and a month there in different countries just because she can. She's a leading authority on what she calls abundance thinking. I love that. And she helps people and organizations maximize their strengths and shareholder value. Welcome, my dear friend, Bella St. John, to the Bald Truth. Bella, welcome to the Bald Truth.
Thank you, my darling friend. It's an honor and privilege to be here. And I'm in Iceland at the moment, so I thought this was an appropriate background. Yeah.
I just love her voice because she's got that lilt in her voice. It's my darling. She can call you my darling and just like, oh, that was really sweet.
Actually, it's funny, when I lived in the States, I remember I was checking out of a supermarket one day, and the fellow that was packing the bags for me, he asked me a question and I answered it. And then he asked me another question and I answered it. And he asked me another question and I looked at it as though something was wrong. And he said, I could just listen to you talk all day.
I know. It's that beautiful voice. Now,
oh,
in Texas, I call everybody darling, ma'am or darling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and no one takes offense to it, but my darling. It's like, oh, that was so sweet. I just got me all giddy and stuff now, like a little boy.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So where do we start? Oh, this is going to be fun. You're so multifaceted. It's really hard to pick a starting point somewhere along the line. Let's just jump in. I love your self-titled moniker, a luxurious nomad.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? And what made you want to travel the world all the time? Not that this is a bad thing, but no, I'm sure everyone wants to do it, but what made you want to do it and then go and do it?
Okay, so what made me want to do it, and then how does one actually be able to do that? So what made me want to do it? Well, it actually wasn't originally a want. I was living in American Las Vegas, of all places. And let's just say that I made a very poor choice in business partner. And my bank account very quickly became 6 figures lighter. And, overnight. And so I thought I have to get out of Dodge. I have to leave Vegas. I just packed up the car and I even went to the Bass Pro Shop and I bought a tent and a sleeping bag. And I mean, I'm like a 5-star kind of girl. I don't do the whole camping thing. From me, I had a friend once that we were talking about camping, and we went shopping, and I'm picking out tents, and he goes, "Your version of a tent is South Fork." Dallas.
My idea of camping,
7 rooms.
Yeah. See, my idea of camping is when it takes room service 2 rings to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. But this was the case of I only had now a finite amount of money in the bank. The income sources were all tied to the business. So and all I could wrap my head around was I just have to get in my car and drive. Mm-hmm. And friends would say, but where are you going? East. Yeah, no. Where are you going? East. And that was the only plan I had. It was just like I just needed to just get out and drive and blow out the cobwebs to go, what do I do next? And that became an 8,000-mile, 6-month journey.
That's in the water someplace, isn't it?
Well, no, I turned left at Albuquerque.
Oh, okay. Like,
No, so I actually drove across and then up and across and down and up and around and basically just freewheeled around the country for several months, and then eventually had to be a grown-up and come back to Vegas and clean up the mess. But what I realized was that I kind of liked something about that lifestyle. And so for the
okay.
next few years, even while I was still living in the USA, I spent several months down in Louisiana, in southern Louisiana. I spent several months in Charleston, South Carolina, which is my favorite place in all of America.
Isn't that beautiful? I'm not so sure Louisiana would know what to do with you.
I have so many stories about
I can
it.
imagine.
I even ended up, I won't even go into how, but I found myself in a barbecue so a friend had invited me along to a friend's place for a barbecue, and I didn't know any of these friends all that well, but I went, yeah, sure. And funnily, I always believe in trust your instincts. And my instincts this particular day said, take my own car. Whereas normally I would have just gone, well, we're going somewhere I don't know, so I'll go in your car with you. My instincts said, take your own car. I'm so pleased I did, because it ended up being a Ku Klux Klan barbecue.
Oh my goodness. Come on, meet some of my friends. They're really nice.
They're really
They wear
nice.
white all the time. They're like pure.
Yeah. So I have so many stories like that. But yeah, so I lived in Louisiana for a little while. Charleston, South Carolina for a while. I lived in a ski resort in New Jersey, and people don't often think of New Jersey for ski resorts.
Mount
But
Vernon.
in the tri-state area, Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania.
Sure.
So yeah, so I found that I really loved it, but I reached a point where I decided not to renew my residency visa in America. There were just, she being the country, she just changed in ways that I lived there 10 years. In ways that I was going, I just don't know that this is for me. Now, my passport still has a kangaroo on it. So, but I have no connections to Australia anymore. I have no desire to go back. So I went, well, if I'm not going to live in America and I don't want to live in Australia, well, what am I going to do? And I thought, well, I can just go see the world. And that's how it started. And the means for that is, and you alluded to some of my coaching, in that a number of years ago, I had a very serious illness. Prior to that, I'd done a lot of work where I was on stage or on camera or, hosting, movie premieres at Warner Brothers, and just all sorts of things where I was physically there. But when you can't get out of bed, it's kind of a little bit of a challenge to earn your living that way. So I spent quite some time transitioning over to have a number of different platforms that generate me income where I can do it. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I can be anywhere. Like, as I said, I'm in Iceland here at the moment. So I have a number of coaching clients where it's just via phone, or now via video, via Zoom. I have a number of different programs that I've developed, and I have licensing fees for those.
Okay.
So, and I still have a little bit of affiliate marketing in there. So there are a number of different sources that basically pay for the lifestyle. But yes, I'm like you. I'm a 5-star bunny, so luxurious nomad. This whole backpacking thing, yeah. And I do at the moment. My suitcases, if I look at them, I travel the world with 6 suitcases currently.
Wow. Well, you have to have the shoes, right?
Well, interestingly, I also have a storage facility still in Vegas and one in England.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. It's okay. I've got a storage facility right here I live in every day, my house. And it's packed to the gills, and I have a storage facility that's 2 miles away keeping stuff in it. But I love it. So if someone was to want to do that, what I'm hearing you say is diversify, multiple streams of income, different streams of income that aren't dependent upon each other.
That aren't dependent on a business partner.
Well, that too. Well, and look, I'm a solopreneur like you. So I get that. I've had some business partners that did nothing and just took, or in your case, where you took one who took your cash. I have them. A lot of people don't want to work. What I found is a lot of people want to live the lifestyle, but they don't want to do the work to get there.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people sometimes when I'm speaking, when I get out and speak, they say, oh man, it's so cool. You get to sit on stage. You get to have a glass of water or a beer. I don't drink beer on stage, but
I drink wine on stage.
That would be okay. And I've had wine during some Zoom calls. Hey, it's happy hour. Let's do that. But they say, man, that's so easy. You just sit up there and you tell your stories and you walk around and you get paid to do that. That's cool. I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's cool. What a great testament. But I said, do you want to do what I did to do what I did?
Get there. Exactly.
They don't want, it's the didding.
Yeah.
That's hard. They don't want to do the did part. What I did, the crappy speeches I had to give, the rubber chicken I had to speak. I have one speech I gave, and this is, I use this story because every once in a while, you don't want to do a luncheon speech because there'll be feeding, there's plates, and you're trying to give a speech and you want everybody focused on you, but they're trying to eat their lunch and the salad. And, oh, here comes somebody who dropped the plates because they were serving. Well, I did one of my early speeches. I did this speech at, for lack of a better term, a retirement community. Because that was they wanted me to come in and give a little motivation, give our residents. These are old people. I'm 40-something years old, 45, 6, 7, I don't know. And it was early in my career. And so it was around Thanksgiving. So it was a luncheon because that's when they're all awake, like middle of the day. They were kind of awake. So they fed them turkey for lunch because it was Thanksgiving and they wanted to do a thing on Thanksgiving, how to be thanks and, enjoy while you're here and while your family might be here, all this kind of stuff. Well, what's in turkey. You know what happens when you have a turkey dinner. What do you get on the couch and you fall asleep? The tryptophan knocks them out. So halfway through my speech, they'd introduced me. Halfway in the speech, all I saw was nostrils and dentures.
Oh, no.
It was like half the room was asleep from the turkey. But no one wants to do that in order to get on stage in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And get paid good money to do that. That's the hard part. So building that residual income and multiple streams is what I heard.
Yeah. And also, if I can go back to the business partner thing. Now, I was just referring to having, for instance, everything, if you like, all in one basket. It doesn't matter whether it's one business partner for one business or it's just one client or whatever. It's when you put everything into the one bucket, that bucket can disappear.
I had that experience in my career. I had a large client, 6-figure client. Working with them. I've been working with them for 3-4 years. I got a little comfortable. In January, they were not going to renew your contract. And I went, whoa, that was six figures that disappeared really quick.
Yep, been there, done that. Yep.
So, and you're right, diversify. So for our listeners and the folks that are watching and listening, diversify what you do. I call it a side hustle. Do you have a side hustle too? That's not only your primary business, and mine is coaching and speaking and training, as is yours. But what's that program that you developed, that online program that kind of generates some revenue for you, that affiliate marketing that you talked about generates marketing, And
also, when one of the things that I think is really important as well, particularly when you're a solopreneur, is to do things in community. And I'm not just talking about in your own physical community. I'm talking about with regard to other business people. So I have a couple of different ventures where I kind of sort of partner up with different colleagues on a thing that's of interest. Or I've started a weekly mastermind where there were some other elements to it as well, called the Codexian Alliance, where a number of like-minded people, we get together every week and we explore different topics and we support one another, etc. And out of that, I just had a meeting yesterday that came as a result of all of that, where 3 of us are getting together and we have an idea and we're going, oh yeah, because I can do this bit, that person can do this bit, and that person can do this bit. So your networks are really important. That's one of the things it might seem, when I'm traveling the world, and I usually spend around about 3 months, because I'm still a tourist, so I travel as a tourist. I'm I'm not actually a resident anywhere. No one wants me. But I can stay up to 90 days in every 180 in the EU, 6 months in the UK, 90 days in Ireland, same thing, Romania, for instance, another one of my places that I love. When I'm doing that, it might seem really easy, though, to lose touch with your network. It's really important to stay in touch. Because
see, and that's the beauty. I think that's something that you nail it when, keeping those connections with people and making sure you build your network and Codexian, right?
Codexian, as
Codexian.
as in the codex, the original manuscripts that contain the knowledge. Yes, Codexian Alliance.
Codexian.
Yes.
So using that, and that can just expand your network into other things.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I created it originally to fill a void, because I also had one of those clients where I was doing a lot of coaching for them, and then they all of a sudden went, terribly sorry, this little thing called COVID.
Oh yeah.
And so and for me though, it was like I had a gap now in my heart and my head every week of sharing my knowledge and sharing my experience and being able to have a positive impact in these people's lives week after week after week. So that was largely why I created the Codexian Alliance.
And what a wonderful way to do it. And, and as I mentioned in my intro, you've got a lot of varied interests and you do a lot of different things. But like myself, I think helping people is at the top of your list.
Yep.
So, and what I'm hearing as we talk, and it's kind of resonating with me, that as long as you have a heart for something, and yours is helping people, and build that. So how does that helping people, heart for helping people, helped you build that residual income?
And because everything that I do is based around the positive impact that it's going to have. I mean, that's really how I live my life. I'm a Pollyanna. I look for the positives. I look for the pretty sparkles. I go out of my way to, if I see somebody with, a lady with a really nice jacket, for instance, I'll actually go out of my way to catch her eye and go, I really like your jacket.
Okay.
And I think that just follows through. So the ultimate end is obviously to have those income streams, but to do it in a way that fills your heart. And that's what fills mine.
See, and that I love that, because that abundance thinking, because a lot of us get that, it's that glass half full, glass half empty, or the I'm just drinking a glass, screw you too.
Or as engineers would say, it's obviously been made twice as large as it needs to be.
Yes. But and when you have abundance thinking, you're thankful for what you have. I think I've heard it say, it's be thankful for what you have. Don't stop trying to get where you're supposed to be in life, but be thankful for where you are now.
And it's even more than that. That certainly is, if you like, the primary element. Just be thankful for the this, thankful for the that. Thank you for for the blue sky, but when you have a challenge, be thankful for the challenge, because you've obviously attracted it into your life for a reason. What is it showing you? What is it teaching you? Maybe what is it delaying you from that you would have just dived straight into if you hadn't had to stop and think? So it's actually to be thankful, appreciative rather than thankful or grateful, to be appreciative for everything.
It's interesting. I had a conversation this morning. I was I take a walk. I walk every morning, a couple miles, just to keep my girlish figure. And I got talking to a young man who was a Green Beret.
Oh, wow.
He's in the Army. He's a captain in the Army. He just finished Green Beret school, going on 2 years now. Mm-hmm. So he's now getting to his next assignment. And I'm doing a speech, and the theme of the speech is mindset. Mm-hmm. So I love the abundance thinking, abundance mindset. So I said, Chris, going through Green Beret school, and he's also an Army Ranger. So those, I don't know if you know anything about the military, but those are very, very difficult schools to pass. And they're the high dropout rate, and he's passed both. He actually had to go to recycle through Ranger school. And I said, what was it that got you past that got you, because he's a big, strong, young, 27-year-old strapping young man. But I said, what was it? And he said, mindset. It was having the right mindset. He says we went through the thought process, and there was a phrase that he used. He called cast or tab.
Okay.
I'm either going to leave here with the cast on my body, which means I can't physically go through, or I'm going to leave with my tab, which is a little patch that they get.
Yep.
He says it's either cast or tab. You get to choose.
Yep.
And so he said he went through that. And I asked him what did he do physically or mentally to get there. But it was having that specific mindset, helping people so you can do, and it's whatever it happens to be. That just happened to be what they went through. Yeah. But having that mindset. So getting a mindset, how would you recommend someone gets to that mindset? Because we all have got junk going on. I mean, we got junk in the trunk. There's all kinds of mind stuff up here. How do you move it, get it out, and then get past it to find your sweet spot? What would you recommend?
Okay, so I have a couple of responses to that. First of all, it really is all about the why. It's why you're here. What do you want? Why do you want it? But backtracking a little bit from a mindset perspective, I mean, in my instance, I have a number of health and mobility challenges. I mean, I was told when I was a teenager that I wouldn't be walking without assistance by my 20s and would probably be in a wheelchair by my 30s. But yet, while I still have some challenge with walking, I mean, I travel the world by myself. And I'm in my 50s now. But that's about mindset. And from a health side of things, I also have a number of health challenges there as well with having MS, multiple sclerosis, and lupus, systemic lupus erythematosus, which is an autoimmune disease where the body basically attacks itself. Mm-hmm. And a whole bunch of other stuff from me. And I don't do prescription medication for any of it at all. For me, the number one prescription is right inside of here. Okay. I mean, there are wonderful people like Dr. Bruce Lipton, for instance. I'd suggest anybody that's interested in mindset when it comes to physiology, as in how mind affects and can interplay with our biology, to look at the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton. I mean, he's been in the epigenetics field since the late 1960s. Phenomenal in that area. So for me, it was reaching a point where you hit down so many times that you go, there has to be another way of doing this. And to just get to that point where you surrender, if you like, just to the fact that there must be a reason why I'm here. Okay. And if that's the case, how can I be the best version of me that I can be? What is it that I want to do while I'm here? Why do I want to do that? And then to keep focusing on the why, not so much of the how. Okay.
So this brings it interesting. I'm talking about mindset and failure, because you've had some challenges, obviously some health challenges. So how did you get past that? What kind of mindset do you use to overcome? So here's what I really was looking for. What kind of ideas or tactics can someone use to get or keep that right mindset? I mean, you've obviously done it, and there are folks out there who are listening, watching. They're going to go, okay, well, that sounds all well and good. You did it. What did you do? What things do I have to do here? What are those tactical things?
Yep. Okay. So again, a faceted response. So I had a really dangerous upbringing, as in seriously lucky to live through it and would make a Stephen King novel look like a bedtime story. And one of the ways that I came to terms with that was to actually make it very factual, to remove the emotion from it and look at the fact that I read somewhere, I don't even remember where I first read it, but that I read that everybody does what they think is either the right thing to do or the only thing that they can see to do at the time, given the way they see the world.
Yeah, I agree.
And
yeah.
the way that I applied that, first of all, in my thinking was to Adolf Hitler. He truly believed. Now, we're not going to argue with the fact that yes, he was a monster, etc. Yeah, so I'm not.
Sure.
So anybody wants to write in and say I was defending Hitler? No, terribly sorry. So caveat to begin with. But he honestly thought he was doing the right thing, or the only thing, given the parameters he had around him that he was seeing, that he was viewing. And interestingly, I contrasted that thought, and Hitler specifically, to my mother and her second husband. Okay. And I looked at the world through their eyes, from their screwy filters. But what it did was it helped take the emotion out of it. It helped look at it as if you like it, like in a courtroom. As in facts. Okay. Dealing with it from a factual perspective. And so that really helped. But my big moment from that perspective, my big, if you like, aha moment where everything changed. I think we have a number of different aha moments in our life that are pivots. Mm-hmm. And so one of mine was, it was one of my first teaching training gigs. And I was in my early 20s. And so it was the organization was one where, you dress in the whole, three-piece suit type environment. But we were doing programs with people who were long-term unemployed. And so this particular time I was given this group of people who were at risk youth. So 16 to 25, so some of them were older than me, but at risk of whatever, at risk of offending, at risk of this, at risk of that. So, and my task was, I had them for one day, and my task was to get them into something, whether it was into a job or into a training program or into the military or just into anything. Okay. And so I'm standing there in my suit that I had bought from a charity shop, by the way, because at the time, I had nothing. I was studying from absolute scratch, and so these people are walking in, and one girl in particular, wearing a hat and sunglasses, walked in, looked at me up and down with disdain, walked to the back of the room, sat on the ground, slid back against the wall underneath a table, and folded her arms. I thought, can I leave now?
that'll get you thinking right away, won't it?
Yeah. So we started, and there were two representatives in the room as well, which didn't help, from the government department that was paying for all of this. And so we kicked everything off, and starting, and then the girl with the hat and the sunglasses under the table comes out with, "Fancy bitch, she wouldn't know what it's like for us." And I stopped kind of mid-sentence, and I said, all right, I did hear that, but what I would like to know is, tell me what I don't know. And I turned it over to the group, and it was like a brainstorming session where you start off slowly with boom and boom and boom, and you wouldn't know this and you wouldn't know that, all from all over the room. The chatter was amazing. And then it slowed down, and I stopped and I went, okay, so let me tell you what I do know. And thankfully I have had more than have now, I guess, but a really good memory for these things. And so I went around the room and I said, so you know how you said that I wouldn't know what it's like to sleep on a park bench and da 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 da. I said, you're right, I don't know that. but I do know what it's like to actually sleep out on the beach by myself because of da 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 da. And you mentioned I don't know what it's like to have somebody hold you up at knife point. No, you're right, I don't. But I do know what it's like to be on the end of a loaded gun. And and I went through every single one of them, and I acknowledged and validated everything that they were saying. I wasn't demeaning anything that they put forward, saying, you're right, I don't know what that's like. What I do know is blah.
This is my experience.
Yes. And we went through all of them. And I said, okay, so I'm going to do something that I don't know how I'm going to pull off, but I just will. If any of you want to leave, I will square it with these two people from these government departments. I'm going to turn around. You have 60 seconds. There is the door. Please use it. And I will somehow find a way to make this okay. If you stay, let's give this our all. And I turned around and we were wearing wristwatches at the time. And I remember I was shaking so much, I was using my second hand to hold my first because it was shaking as I'm watching this. And so when I turned back around and looked at the group, so everybody was still there, and the girl with the hat and sunglasses, she was still sitting on the ground, but she'd slid out from under the table. And her sunglasses were down a bit, so I could actually see her eyes.
You had some attention.
And that, for me, was the moment I stopped being a victim.
And that's it. It's not accepting the victim. And again, I heard it again this morning, the young man that I talked. I said, why do these guys quit? And you're challenging people to quit right there. And I'm pretty sure you wanted to quit. You were going to crawl under that table with her at some point.
I wanted to crawl out. I wanted to leave when she walked in the door. Get real.
Yeah. And he says it became why guys quit. And I've been doing a lot of interviews with the military. I've got a really big heart for our military, and right. Especially the Navy SEALs, special ops guys.
Yep.
And he says they quit because they lose their focus, and they play the victim.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I shouldn't be here. This is too hard. I'm never going to make it. And he says, one step at a time. He says, stop looking at those 9 weeks that you have to get through, because it's going to suck. Or the next 9 days, because you're out in the rain and it's November and it's Georgia or, South Carolina, wherever the heck they did it, right? And it's raining and it's cold and it's fixing to drop. And at night it sucks and it shivers and it's just, pardon my language, it's shitty. It's a shitty time. He says, just know you got to take that next step, and I got to get through the next hour. And then I can get through the next hour and the next hour. And I think that's a great, what I took from what you just said was that's what you do. Give them 60 seconds. I'm going to take it 60 seconds at a time.
Exactly
and I'm
right.
going to give you everything I've got, and I'm not quitting. In those 60 seconds, I'm not quitting.
Precisely.
Then the next 60 seconds, I'm not.
Exactly. And even when I had the transition, when I was really sick, but I still had a number of speaking gigs and things to do. And so, I would set things up so I had something even to hold on to. But I looked at it from the perspective that nobody else needed to know. I was there to do a job. I wasn't there to get the sympathy card or any of that. But I would make sure that I could see a clock, and I would take them in 5-minute increments.
Yeah.
So out of the corner of my eye, I would just watch that clock. I would know when I'd be able to leave and just go out into my car and just basically collapse. But I couldn't make it. I couldn't focus on the hour. I could focus on 5 minutes at a time.
5 minutes. Yeah, that's perfect.
I can get through the next 5 minutes. And the other element in all of that is I am a devotee of Yoda.
Yoga.
Little guy in Star Wars.
Oh, Yoda. Oh, Yoda. Yeah.
Yes. Do or do not. There is no try.
That's beautiful. And I love that.
I actually came across somebody this week that hadn't seen the movie in which Yoda utters that. I know.
Say it isn't so.
I know. So surely we wouldn't have anybody on your podcast that would fit that criteria. But just in case, short version is Luke Skywalker's crashed his cute little plane into this mud bath, and Yoda's saying, come on, dude, use the force, use your mind, you can lift it out, you can do this. And Luke's going, okay, I think I can, and the plane moves up a little bit, and it falls back down again. And so they do this process a couple of times, and each time Yoda's going, come on, you can do it, and it falls back down again, and Luke basically says, oh, look, I'm trying, but it's just too hard. And Yoda says, that, young man, is your problem. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
And I saw a wonderful clip by the late, great Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I think it was a PBS special. And he spoke about try. And he said, so see this handkerchief, this Kleenex that I have? He said, let me show you what try looks like. He dropped it on the floor. And he said, I'm going to try and pick it up. And he's reaching over. I'm trying to pick it up. I'm trying to pick it up. I'm trying to pick it. You know what I'm really doing? I'm not picking up the darn handkerchief.
Exactly.
So do or do not. Make the decision. If you are going to do it, then do it. Make the decision. If you're not going to do it, then that's fine. Go off and do something else. But do what you say you will do. If you make a decision to do something, if you make a decision to start your own business, do it. You might find partway along that you need to pivot into, you wanted to start off with having a travel business, and then COVID hits and you go, okay, well, I'm just going to pack up. No, what you're going to do is you're going to take what you already have, what you have already learned, and pivot into something else. You might pivot multiple times, but you keep doing.
Yes. And that, and if anyone takes anything from our conversation today, and I know they're going to take a whole lot because this is great stuff, but that's it, is just take an action, just do it. And again, the whole thing with pivot, moving, changing, COVID has made all of us change. I mean, your new business venture, which I want to get ready. I don't want to keep you on too much time. I want to be cautious of your time because I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. But
hey, I'm having the time of my life here. And so, but even on that, to interject, my friend, at this moment in time, this is the most important thing in my world.
Oh, you're too sweet. So, all right, you've got this new venture that you're working on. You tell us a little bit about it and how it's going to change the world, and tell people about it.
Oh, the Codexian Alliance.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so with the Codexian Alliance, we have a small group of members thus far. I think there's around about 10 of us that are regularly on the mastermind calls, but I think there's about 20 members so far. We've only a couple of months old. But there are three primary elements for the Codexian Alliance. It was created, as I said, really for a vehicle for me largely to be able to give back my knowledge and to inspire and to help other people. But also because of what I was seeing with COVID, where there were so many people that were wonderful business people or wonderful coaches or wonderful consultants or whatever. And their income sources had largely dried up because of COVID. And they were having trouble pivoting, or they were having difficulty doing this or that or the other. And I had seen a lot of instances and read about and heard about where they just didn't have the support networks, or they didn't have a collective to be able to bounce ideas, or they might have a good idea, but they didn't have any marketing skills. And so even if they could go to Fiverr, they didn't know what to ask. And they didn't know whether or not it was appropriate for their target group. And even the idea of having a target group was new for some people. And so to bring together a collective of, and we call it a family, so it's the Codexian family, but to bring together a collective of people who all work for themselves. And we have a couple of people there in the Codexian Alliance as well, who also have regular jobs, but they have their own business on the side as well. So, but to provide them with three primary elements. One is we have a digital library of things that I've either created over the years, or I've paid to have create or purchased or whatever. So they have full copyright use to repurpose them to their heart's content. So I think there's like 500 or 600 items already in that digital library. So if you think about it, almost everybody in business is promoting on social media or on articles on LinkedIn or whatever it happens, to be able to get in through the noise to the people out there. So using the digital library as a starting point. I mean, there are enough resources in there. You could put together a course on something and offer that online, or a series of articles, or whatever it happens to be. So you have full access and full reprint rights. I don't even care if you become a member and you download everything in it. Great, good luck to you. That's why it's there. The second element is our mastermind. So we get together every week, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. And it's funny as well, going back to the luxurious nomad side of things, everything that I do, I have one time zone, which is Eastern. Because, for instance, just this week, British time zone changes. So if I had everything in multiple, in people's own time zones,
oh my gosh,
then I would be doing things overlapping. So a little bit of a tip, if you are going to have an international business, pick one time zone in which to have your appointments. Otherwise, you'll find when one time zone changes, you'll end up talking to two people about something different at the same time. So yes, so we meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern on a Zoom call. And we discuss different topics, etc. This week, our topic was all on learning styles and personal styles, and how putting yourself in your shoes of your customer and how they acquire and assimilate information can assist you in your sales process. So that was this week's topic, for instance.
Okay, so sounds very interesting.
That's the second element. The third element is I'm all about community. I'm all about people helping people, etc. So we have a 50% referral. So for any new people referred in, there's a 50% referral process that goes back. Okay. Again, particularly, and why I built that in wasn't just from the perspective of community supporting community, but it was because, again, there are a number of coaches and consultants out there that just need an extra, even extra few $100s just a month just to get them through. And so the membership fee, it's free for the first month. And by the way, I don't even mind if you join for a month, download everything, come to 4 meetings, sign up as an affiliate, and then go, no, totally not for me. That's fine too. But so it's free for the first month, and then just $97 a month.
Oh, there you go. So perfect. So that, and you know what, that's the perfect segue into abundance thinking. And it shows your abundance thinking. You put it out in the world, and you just put it out there, and then it will come back. And that's absolutely it. So this is awesome. I want to thank you for being here. But I do have something else for you.
What's that, Daddy?
We have something every time. Coach Rick has what he calls the bald truth questions. 3 quick questions.
Here we go.
All right, you haven't seen these coming, but here's what it is. So
I think I need to leave now. I think someone's calling me.
No, these are easy questions.
Okay, lay it on me, dude. Come on.
Because here's what I've come to find is we all know what we do. We talk about the things, it's topics we know, and we're well versed in it. We get there. So we've practiced this stuff. We've kind of got this down, and we're good. Now, here's the curveball. I want to know who Bella is. I want to know who you are at your heart. Inside who you are, I want to know a little bit about you and how you really think. Not what you practice saying.
No. Yeah.
So, and again.
Who I am at my heart, I am a woman out of her time.
Okay.
I am a woman who feels at home between 1840 and 1940. I get the world there.
Cool.
I understand that world. I live in long dresses. You won't see me in pants or short dress. I live in long dresses. I have a collection of hats and gloves and scarves and accessories that travel all around the world with me, which is
I
part of
love
the
that.
reason I need 6 suitcases.
That's why you have to have those 6 suitcases. That's it. I get it.
That's
So,
right.
okay. So here's the question though. But
Yep.
here's the question. I don't want to cut you off because
No,
you
go,
are a
go.
Renaissance woman. So here's the question. You're holding a dinner party for
Yes.
6 people,
Yes.
yourself included. So you get to invite 5 people.
Right.
What 5 people do you invite and why? They can be alive or dead. They can have to have been born, but they can either be alive or dead right now. In all of history, what 5 people do you invite to this dinner party?
Okay, well, to begin with, I would tend to actually have a dinner party with 12. Interestingly, I've found
6.
no.
It's a small dinner party.
I will answer your 6th question. I'll give you why for people if they think, oh, that would actually be a really good idea to have interesting people over for dinner. Is that when you have 12, what you find is that the emphasis moves from you as the host to the guests.
Okay.
When you only still have 6, it's almost like everyone's still looking to you as the guest. But when you go to 12, it's like the number of things skews.
Oh, hell,
so
I'm going to have to change this question now.
There you go. So my 5 people, I would actually have multiple dinner parties of multiple lots of 5 people. But the first ones that come to mind would be Stephen Fry.
Okay.
Phenomenally not just intelligent but knowledgeable, and the way he can combine thoughts, and the fact that he has, I think, every encyclopedia that was ever written in about 5 different languages stored in his head. The way he puts things together are beautiful, and from everything that I've seen of him, he just has a glorious heart.
Okay, good. Excellent.
So that would be one. Another person would be, well, actually, let me give a caveat. I would love to have this person to a dinner party, but it wouldn't have because of the protocol and etiquette. But it would be Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
But she wouldn't be at the dinner party because I wouldn't get what I would want from that. But she, for me, is my go-to person for being the most elegant, dignified version of myself in a challenge.
Okay, excellent.
So when I'm faced with a challenge and the first thing you want to do is either run or cry, I will tend to go to, if Her Majesty were in that sort of a situation, how would she react?
Okay,
As
good.
in personally, how would she personally interact?
Makes sense.
That? Another would be my great-grandmother, who largely raised me. An amazing woman born just after the end of the 1800s, Gladys May Parnell. From the perspective of what she witnessed during her lifetime. So when she was born, man hadn't even taken to flight.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But when she passed away, we'd already walked on the moon. So
interesting. She's seen a lot. She's seen the world really grow. Interesting.
Exactly. Yes. So I'm up to 3. It would be somebody like an Orville Wright, and him specifically because not only of the invention of the aircraft, but also, if you like, what the thought process was to take from a bicycle shop through to a heavier than aircraft that flies, but also from the perspective that, kind of like my nan, obviously he was a flight pioneer, but he was still alive when Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier. And so to get his thoughts and his contrasts and the way that he views all of those changes on the way through. And I think for my fifth, it would probably have to be you.
You're far too kind.
No, from the perspective that you prompted this question. So you are, in effect, the reason we are all gathered around the table.
Well, thank you. That is the first time I've ever been invited to one of these dinners.
Oh, well, I'll have to organize it for real one time. Although I don't know that I can get Oval Right or Her Majesty to turn up.
If we can get Her Majesty to show up, exactly. It's fun because I do this question a lot because it tells a lot about people and what they admire, what they think about, what drives them. So thank you for sharing that. So second question, an article's being written about you when you're gone. We all have an expiration date. We know that. So, but an article's being written about you when you're gone. What's the title? What's the headline?
What's the headline? The headline would be, "Inspiration will be sorely missed."
Excellent. Cool. And finally, what do you do each morning to set yourself up for success?
Sleep in.
Sleep in. I love it. I love sleep in. Because you are our luxurious nomad. Yes, I love it. Bella, oh my.
I sleep in, but that is, it's not just a throwaway line. It is very practical. I sleep in not just for my physical health, but for my mental health, and I don't get up to an alarm clock. I relax and I just think about my day, and I just think about the things for which I'm just really appreciative, and then how can I impact, who can I impact this day, etc. Just before I even get out of bed. That actually is how I set myself up for success.
Now there's some good stuff right there. That's good stuff. All right, Bella, thank you so much. I've taken far too much of your time. I'm so blessed to have you on The Bald Truth today. Thank you for spending this time with us. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. So how can people get in touch with you? Give us let everybody, if you want to get a shout out, how can people find you?
BellaStJohn.com.
Okay, BellaStJohn.com.
AOHN.com, BellaStJohn.com. And there's links to all of my stuff there.
Excellent. Well, it'll be scrolling down on the bottom. Folks, just look down below. We'll have the BellaStJohn.com right there so you can reach out to her, maybe join her mastermind.
Yes, join the Codexian Alliance.
There you go. All right, folks, you have been listening to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast with Coach Rick of the Peak Performance Group, the company that helps people and organizations reach their potential. If you're looking for a way to grow your organization, whether it be sales, strategic direction, the Peak Performance Group coaches, we can help you grow with our proven business acceleration process. Call us at 817-748-7425 or visit us at www.mypotentialplus.com on the interweb, and we'll connect you with the right coach. Remember, subscribe and like below. We're available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, and YouTube videos. Watch for this. Hit the like, hit the subscribe to get every episode. Folks, I'm Coach Rick, and that's The Bald Truth.